Hey, good morning. Tony DeDante, 360 Life Transformations. As most of you know, I used to be a C-suite executive in the HR world, and then got promoted out to go be part of a huge iconic brand and learn about HR from the outside in. So I have some contrarian viewpoints now. I have some better intel. And I think the value proposition HR delivers needs to change dramatically, and there's no better time than right now. And basically it comes down to, the best change, the most obvious, the most successful changes happen opposite of the epicenter. So some of the greatest work I've done around the world has been away from the headquarters, believe it or not. And that's just the way organizational change is. So now we have a chance with this new virtual workforce. So I'm in total agreement that there's a hybrid model out there. And I'm in total agreement that HR has to change the value proposition, learn new critical skills, change policies. All that stuff I agree with. Here's what I don't agree with. And this is not a shot at any HR organization, but one of the things that one of the largest HR consulting companies put out here is that they said that HR must preserve the company culture and ensure that the employee experiences keeps up with the expectation of the employees. Okay, I buy the last part of that. Employees have expectations. Here's what I don't buy. For decades and decades and decades, HR has been delivering the fish dinner to its employees. And they feel good about it because they're human beings and they care about people. That's why they got in the profession. But at the same time, we never taught employees to fish, how to fish, the decisions that go into fishing. We just delivered the fish dinner and they become dependent on us, and that's a good feeling, right? But it's a terrible, terrible outcome in an employee culture. So what do you see now? Why in the world would we want to hold on to the employee culture that was there? The Black Swan came in, right? This little book, that little guy, he came in and he virtually said, hey, I'm challenging every culture out there. Every culture out there I'm going to put on thin ice if you weren't prepared for this. If you were undercapitalized for it. If you need to lay off people to make your numbers. All those are signs of weakness and a poor culture. Yep, I firmly believe it. Now there are a few, and I mean a few, companies with strong cultures out there that were ahead of this Black Swan. They didn't know what it was going to be COVID, but they were ahead of it. WD-40, the tribe mentality, there, boom. Zoom, Amazon, Costco, creating their own Black Swans. Walmart now starting to create their own Black Swan, but they're playing catch up to Amazon, right? So my point is this. As HR executives, we need to re-inspect and really see the reality and the opportunity to be a contrarian. Don't go back to the old HR. Don't go back to the SHRM HR. Teach the employee population to fish. And here's what's really important. From the work that I learned from Mike Beer and Chris Argyris at Harvard in Mike's new book, Fit to Compete, every organization has at least 6 silent killers in it, undiscussables that make it very, very, very thin ice, and they stall strategy execution across the board. So pick a number, 80%, 90%, maybe higher of cultures had thin ice to begin with, and it was unsuspecting because we were in a bull market that it was as thin as it was. But now it's exposed. So now I think we do have to explore hybrid work situations, right? I think, however, hybrid workforce models aren't only about selecting one location over another. They provide a unique opportunity right now for employers. They provide an opportunity for managers, for employees to share in the ownership of location decisions. I think that's good. And I think that if we get in there, if we teach and we ensure that the bottoms and the middles are being allowed and encouraged to speak truth to power, well, you know what you get when you get that? You get the obvious better decisions from the top, but here's what you really get. You get leaders by behavior and not by title. And that's what you want. Allow them to speak truth to power. The sum of that is better decisions, better engagement, all that stuff. But the real game is, how do I get my employee base to be leaders without titles? I'll leave it at that. I'm taking an opposite view on this, a contrarian view. No surprise to many of you have worked for me over the 35 years. I believe now is the time to change your culture. Don't fall back on the easy route of saying, we've got great people and a great culture. You got great people, but you don't have a great culture because you failed the stress test. Talk to you soon.